What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of Show Me Football, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And we just got our first Kansas City Chiefs injury update of the 2025 NFL season. We'll talk about it right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into another video on my channel. As I said in the intro, we got our first injury update from the Kansas City Chiefs to open up training camp. You know it's football season because we've got our first official injury update of the 2025 NFL season, but this is from Matt McMullen. He says Juwan Taylor, Christian Fulton, and Trey Watson were the only members of the Chiefs who didn't practice today. Everyone else worked. Now, there was also another tweet stating that Juwan Taylor and Christian Fulton, the new cornerback that the Chiefs signed in the offseason, are on the PUP list to open up training camp. Both of them have knee injuries. We didn't get too many details about what exactly it is they're dealing with, but they're on the PUP list to open up training camp. Now, I think it's safe to say at this time that it's not too concerning, because people see, PUP list, which if you don't know what the PUP list is, it's physically unable to perform list. So they're probably sitting there thinking, what's going on? Physically unable to perform. This must be really bad. Really, it could be anything, but the Chiefs are just going to be cautious to open up training camp. They're not going to, ramp it up too fast for guys that are still dealing with some things, who knows what kind of work done they had in the offseason for injuries that they were maybe dealing with last year. But bottom line is Juwan Taylor and Christian Fulton open up training camp on the PUP list. Now, I wanted to make a video kind of talking about this injury update, not only to keep you guys informed, but also because I have a few thoughts stemming from this. First of all, because I just made a video before this, but I wanted to deliver my promise to you guys about making an injury update video. Now, here's the thing. Juwan Taylor is the first name that stands out because obviously him being out of the lineup to begin training camp means we get a look at Jalen Moore at right tackle, which I think is interesting. And I think that immediately tells you right now that if an injury were to occur there at that position, or if Juwan Taylor were to be benched at any point this season for a poor performance or something other, Jalen Moore is the guy. That's who they're going to roll with at right tackle. And I just said it in the video I made before this, which if you haven't seen it, definitely go check that out, where I broke down my thoughts on the Chiefs offensive line from day one of training camp. I think I might be waving the white flag on Jalen Moore being the starting left tackle. Now, like I said in that video, doesn't necessarily mean that Jalen Moore won't play left tackle at some point next season. That's definitely still a possibility. And I think right now Jalen Moore is your swing tackle to kick things off. But it's good, I think, if you want to take a silver lining from Juwan Taylor starting camp on the PUP list, it's that we get a look at some other guys that we otherwise wouldn't get a look at. We get to see what Jalen Moore can bring you at right tackle. He gets some snaps there, under his belt so that he can learn that position if, the opportunity arises or the situation arises where he has to step in at right tackle. And then also, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs shuffled some things around. Like if at camp tomorrow we saw Jalen Moore play left tackle. But I think that will be telling as well. Be on the lookout tomorrow, see what the Chiefs do. I think if it's Josh Simmons and Jalen Moore at left tackle, right tackle for the second day in a row, that'll tell us that this is what the Kansas City Chiefs want, at least as long as Juwan Taylor's out. Now, if you see Jalen Moore at left tackle tomorrow, Josh Simmons sitting out, or Josh Simmons at right tackle, or Wanya Morris at right tackle, or whatever, then that means the Chiefs are just getting looks all over the place. But nonetheless, the silver lining from the Juwan Taylor injury to start camp is that you get a look at some of the other guys. Christian Fulton kind of a similar situation. Now, the thing is, it is more important that he gets back at some point because obviously he was not on this team last year. He does not have experience in this defense, in the Steve Spagnuolo system. So it's important that he gets back sooner than later. But look, guys, this is why you build depth. And I think Brett Veach did a really good job building depth in the secondary and specifically at the cornerback position over the offseason. Last year when the Chiefs had a healthy duo of Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson, they were one of the best cornerback duos in football last year. However, we didn't get that for very long. Jalen Watson got injured and the Chiefs cornerback depth got tested, and we learned that the Chiefs cornerback depth was not good. We now get the opportunity again, similar to Jawan Taylor, where, some of these other guys can get worked in, but there's a lot of talent there at that position. You still have McDuffie, you still have Watson, you still have Joshua Williams, who I'm not a huge fan of, but he's played a lot of snaps for this defense already, and he has a lot of experience. At worst, he's depth. Najee Johnson, similar story, although we don't have to get into that. But you also brought in Noel Williams, the Chiefs' mid-round draft pick from this previous draft. A lot of people are very high on him. He's going to get some snaps. He's going to get some run, and that's good for him, being a rookie going up against, NFL caliber talent now. But it's very important that the Chiefs get that cornerback room healthy. That's the reason you signed all these guys, because I noticed that when the Chiefs started opening up practice, the reporters were saying that we saw Trent McDuffie on the outside and Jalen Watson, rotating there on the outside with Chamari Connor at the nickel. And we saw that a lot last year when Jalen Watson got hurt, was Trent McDuffie on the outside, Chamari Connor filling in, typically where Trent McDuffie plays. And it wasn't a great situation. Chamari Connor's play really dipped there. Trent McDuffie, maybe fell off first team All-Pro, didn't get quite the recognition that he deserved because he was filling in a position that he's not best suited at. Trent McDuffie needs to be in the slot. That's why you signed Christian Fulton, is so that you have that depth, so that if a Jalen Watson injury happens, you can slide in Christian Fulton. Or if a Christian Fulton injury happens like this, you can slide in Jalen Watson there. You just have depth, or no Williams, assuming he comes along. But Trent McDuffie needs to be in the slot. That's why you made these moves. So hopefully everyone gets back and healthy here soon enough, and we can see this Chiefs team at full strength, because I think they just added so much talent. They're going to be really, really good in a lot of places, and love the depth that they've added. And that these injuries, again, if you want to find a silver lining, means we get a glimpse at some of these other guys in camp, gives them the opportunity to get better. But yeah, guys, that is your first Kansas City Chiefs injury update of 2025 to kick off Chiefs training camp. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, your concern level for these two injuries. But with all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. Make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com for more. You can follow me on Twitter at showmefb. That's all I got for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, go Chiefs.